Welcome back to the Ask Johnny channel. Still, I believe, the least watched show in YouTube history. But today I'm talking about 1984. That's right, 1984, the book. Have any of the decision makers out there in the world, have they even read the bloody thing?
We are controlling transmission.
G'day, Johnny. Yeah, we've got a letter here from Peru. Lima in Peru, of all places. From Peru, huh? Oh, don't just sit there, read the bloody thing. Hey Johnny, I'll get on to it. This is from Bubbles, and she's in Lima, Peru. Hello to everybody up in Peru. Keep watching us by Jesus. But Johnny, Bubbles asks, Johnny, I hear you mention the novel 1984 quite regularly on your marvellous program. Do you really think we are heading there, Johnny? Signed, Bubbles in Lima, Peru. Thanks, Bubbles. Johnny, are we going to are we heading towards 1984? 1984? I think we're bloody near there, Johnny. We keep harping on it and harping on it here at the Ask Johnny Studios, but I think we're the only bastards who worry about it. Come on, John. Surely that's not the case. So we've got good friends out there who are fighting for peace, justice, and whatever fucking else there is out there. They're fighting for a tooth and nail. Well, it does make you wonder, Johnny. Yeah. And Elon, our friend Elon out there, Johnny, he's just bloody purchased Twitter, which seems to be putting the wind up a whole fucking section of the community.
Free speech Jesus, Elon Musk acquires Twitter. So why are the mainstream media so upset?
Right, yes, Johnny.
He believes that free speech is important, and not just important, vital for a democracy, for a functioning democracy. And I agree with that.
Yesterday in my radar, I explained why so many members of the mainstream media are losing their minds over Elon Musk's acquisition of Twitter. They're afraid that if Musk makes the platform's rules more favorable for free speech, their power to control the conversation and brand all dissenting views as disinformation and harassment, that power will come to an end. So it should come as no surprise that the Biden administration is expressing similar, albeit more cautious, concerns about Musk's Twitter takeover as well. Here,
There are thought criminals who maintain that resistance is not real. Believe me, Winston.
I mean, Johnny, is 1984 being taught in schools? Is it still on the curriculum or what? But it's obvious they're not paying any bloody attention to it. But Johnny, it goes way back even to the cavemen that, Johnny, get to the point for Christ's sake. Our leaders in charge weren't discussing what they were actually planning and letting the followers or the tribes people or the serfs or the bloody whatever it is, they weren't even telling them what the hell was going on. Well, I don't think they have, Johnny. And for a long time, Johnny, that worked wonders because it kept everyone stupid and dumb and the wealthy people kept them wealthy. Oh, Johnny, are you talking shit again? But these days, it seems that system's fallen in a fucking great big hole, Johnny, and the people who are in power are shit scared that so smart ass, what are you going to do about it? That the ordinary people are going to rise up somehow and take over the joint. Is that a possibility?
We love each other. What are you going to do about it?
Do you think that Twitter now is going to become a place where you can express a variety of views? Or are you terrified that Twitter will now become some hideous crucible of condemnation and intolerance? Let's try to understand it by watching our pals over on the mainstream media. Come on, guys, tell us what's going on. We can trust you. We've proved that much.
The world's richest guy is set to buy one of the world's most influential social media companies. After weeks of uncertainty, Elon Musk struck a deal to buy Twitter at a price of roughly $44 billion. But the question is, what's he going to do with it?
So, when people talk about billionaires buying Twitter and it being wrong for a billionaire to own Twitter, I think what they're really saying is, I want one of my billionaires to own and run Twitter. A billionaire that's sympathetic to my opinions. What?
So smart ass, what are you going to do about it?
Have recourse to. For example, the belief in free speech, that's a principle. I believe in free speech. What you have to mean when you say I believe in free speech is I agree with other people's right to disagree with me. I agree with other people's right to live differently.
And our friend Tucker Carlson, good old Tucker, at the very right-wing Fox News, he's got this to bloody say about it.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. When Elon Musk first announced that he was buying Twitter, it was pretty obvious the Democratic Party would soon become unhinged, not just angry or annoyed in the way you're very used to, but instead legitimately terrified and hysterical.
Are we right wing or left wing, Johnny?
Joe Biden cannot continue to control this country if you have free access to information. It's that simple. Biden certainly is not improving your life. He's not even trying to improve your life. So the best he can do is lie to you and demand that you believe it. So today, to herald the coming of the new Soviet America, the administration announced its own Ministry of Truth. This will be called the Disinformation Governance Board. Laugh if you want, but just to...
Believe me, Winston.
So it's not a joke at all. Here's DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas.
We have just established a Mis- and Disinformation Governance Board in the Department of Homeland Security to more effectively combat this threat, not only to election security, but to our homeland security.
Yeah, the Disinformation Governance Board. I mean, have they read the book?
But what he didn't tell us is how he's defining disinformation. So here you have this new and terrifying thing that the Biden administration is so concerned about that has created a new agency to fight it, but Mayorkas never said or even hinted as to what it might be.
Right, yeah.
Mayorkas doesn't want justice, and neither does the president he serves. They want power, and to get power, they plan to control what you think. Watch Mayorkas explain.
We have so many different efforts underway to equip local communities to identify individuals who very well could be descending into violence by reason of ideologies of hate, false narratives, or other disinformation and misinformation propagated on social media and other platforms.
Oh, did you know that? So one of our biggest law enforcement agencies has men with guns around the country doing so many things to stop disinformation and false narratives. Those aren't even lies, they're just deviations from the approved script. Mayorkas told us again that men with guns plan to, quote, identify individuals who could be descending into violence, could be descending. Not people who've committed violence or even been accused of any crime at all. DHS is instead using law enforcement powers to identify and punish people who think the wrong things. That would be opponents of the Biden administration. Is this dystopian fiction? No, it's happening right in front of us.
Right, yeah. I mean, what are they frightened of? That people are actually going to be saying what they think? Even though it might be a bastard of a bloody suggestion, they still have the right to say what they think. But Johnny, surely the people will rise up. They'll realise that we're all heading to 1984, and surely they'll rise up and they'll bloody do something about it.
Just to be clear, this is a nightmare unfolding in slow motion, but this is the point where we're just going to have to draw the line.
If you can't see how complex our cultural conversation has become at a time that Tucker Carlson on the right can't talk about a peaceful solution for the Ukraine-Russia conflict, and Noam Chomsky on the traditional left can't talk about a peaceful solution to the Ukrainian conflict, the kind of dazzling array and range of censorship that suggests, then I feel that you need to educate yourself more deeply about what's happening culturally.
I'm sitting here also following the release just last week of the Biden-Harris administration national strategy for countering domestic terrorism.
I mean, he sounds like he's straight out of 1984 himself, Johnny.
And as that strategy points out, and as you well know, that the concept of domestic terrorism is not a new threat facing the United States. We've had many events throughout our history where individuals inspired by or motivated by domestic extremist ideological beliefs have engaged in destructive behavior, acts of violence, acts of mass violence. But
you know what that bloke was just bloody describing, Johnny? What? The American Revolution. Yeah, the American Revolution. They're a bunch of terrorists who wanted to change the government and they worked subversively to do it. And they went ahead and overthrew the bloody rule of Britain, and the great country of the USA was built. I mean, George Washington was a fucking terrorist, for Christ's sake. Are you comparing George Washington? He's a brave and virtuous actor overthrowing a tyrannic... Johnny, here at the Ask Johnny Studios, we don't class ourselves as left or right or whatever the fucking hell that means. I just know that... and when you hear dunderheads like Tucker going on about it and he's actually making sense, well, then you start to get a bit bloody scared. So sometimes, Johnny, we do feel like we're pissing in the wind here at the Arsenal Studios and no one's paying any bloody attention to what's going on around them. But I'm saying to those people out there, Johnny, get to the point, for Christ's sake. You've got to wake up and smell the roses and see what the fucking hell's going on all around you. Yeah, that's right, Johnny. Yeah, and one day you're going to wake up and what you think will not be allowed. Well, you certainly sorted that problem out, Johnny. The world out there at large, it thanks you for your efforts once again. Johnny, is 1984 being taught in schools? Is it still on the curriculum or what?